Hey guys, so here bringing you another video and welcome to another Challenger Spectate. And today we are watching the brand new Rank 1 Challenger player. So yes, some players have been overtaken. Bwippo and Magifelix have been overtaken by this individual. I don't know if it is a pro. Someone can let me know. I don't think it is. But yes, they are a jungler. So I will say, and I know, there's multiple things going on, but there would be some people for you to believe, or there would be some people that would want you to believe that it's impossible to climb currently with top and jungle. Depending who you ask, and that's the funny thing, depending who you ask, people will give you different answers of the strength of different, roles in League of Legends. I personally believe jungle is the most influential role in the game right now, but if you ask some jungle mains, they'll probably say it's really bad. But that's the point. The role itself might be weak right now. The XP is a bit slow, and there's a couple of different factors. But to me, you can't argue the point that it's the most influential role. And when it comes to SOLOQ, it's generally the better jungler wins. And I know that's kind of a meme, but it truly does seem that that is the case. Which jungler gets ahead, which jungler gets behind, which gets the scuttles, which ones gets the dragons. When you add all of that up, in essence, it is frightening how often it is the jungler that makes the difference. And yeah, rank 1 on EU West is obviously no easy feat, and we're going to watch how he plays Lee Sin. So, straight away, starting blue buff, and gets it very fast with a decent pull, and then straight goes over to the red. There's the Olaf. How is this going to go? Lee Sin does pick it up, and now going to fight an Olaf. Now, I do not think he should take this fight. He is not going to win it, but with the combination of the Tristana coming, maybe they now can. Lee Sin's actually flashing. Olaf doesn't do the best flash, if I'm honest, but the enemy bot lane is making their way. Maybe a bit too late, if I'm honest. Lee Sin potentially in trouble. Is going to Q, does die, but does a decent damage before he dies. Tristana going to pick up the double kill and will survive. So that was pretty good. Again, the weird thing is who got the red buff? Because Tristana got the kill and she has blue buff? Did red buff just disappear? What happened? I have no idea. But in essence, that's not bad. But yeah, fighting an Olaf in the early levels is always a pretty risky thing to do. He is very scary, from levels, 1 to 3 in 1v1s. He's actually scary in most levels in 1v1s, to be fair. But worth noting, obviously this is Challenger E West, and yeah, the comps are still a little bit funky. So top lane Lucian on red team, mid lane Tristana with Exhaust, Syndra bot lane with a Trundle, and then on the enemy team, Talia mid lane, Swain in the carry position. So this is a good summary of SOLOQ nowadays. SOLOQ used to be, you only practically could get away, meanwhile nice gank, you only used to be able to get away with like the top tier picks in Challenger, meta. Say what you will about League of Legends, but it has definitely become more open about playing anything. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I'm not really sure. But yeah, you now can pretty much get away with playing anything you want within reason. But that never used to be the case. So Olaf now on the back foot to the Lee Sin. Tristana's now coming up from river. Olaf's going to just maybe, I don't know, he's actually going to turn to fight because Gangplank's behind him. Tristana now in the area. Lee Sin not sure what to do. Again, he has doubles, which he doesn't want to get rid of. Lee Sin's still hovering, and this is the point. Look at the early aggression from this Lee Sin, and this is 100% on purpose. Like, we've spoken before many times about scaling, and different champions scale at different rates. Lee Sin falls off, especially compared to something like an Olaf. And he falls off because of scaling and because of his item build. There's many factors. But in terms of being a carry, Lee Sin does definitely fall off. And look how aggressive this guy's playing. It's absolutely insane. Lovely ward jump. Gets the extra little bing bong. And Lucian will finish the kill. Now going on to the Gangplank, who, by the way, doesn't have flash. And yeah, this is really nice to watch. So it's not like the cleanest, like completely cleanest play that we've ever seen. But it's insanely aggressive. The Olaf cannot cope with the aggression level right now of the Lee. He's ganking constantly. He's looking for fights. The Lee isn't backing off like when a normal player would probably back off. He's constantly looking for pressure, and that's what I like so far. So you're kind of watching how to take over the early game as a jungler, but in essence, it's actually the difference, and what we said earlier, it's the difference of the two junglers this game, and that is why I do think it's the most influential role. Red team is clearly winning, has a 2,000 gold lead right now because of jungle, let's be honest. And really, the Olaf shouldn't be taking these fights. Lee has the clear advantage right now. So Olaf should kind of turtle a little bit, get XP, because he will eventually outscale the Lee. But the Olaf is willing to take these fights for some reasin, and that's only going to give Lee Sin the advantage. But Olaf does get a good gank in bot lane. Farm-wise, by the way, Olaf must have based, didn't even go back, based, then didn't even go back to get farm, or any farm, and he went straight to bot lane to get a gank. So again, both junglers are playing what I would call hyper-aggressive. Which is kind of interesting to see. Again, don't underestimate Swain's damage even at low level, especially combined minions. Lee Sin, gonna go aggressive. We said before, how aggressive is he playing? Tristana now heavy roaming. Lee Sin's gonna pick up the kill. Maybe he should have actually given that along. Olaf now on the back foot. Lee Sin unfortunately misses his Q, and there is that. Dragon maybe is up for grabs for red team. And yeah, so keyword, we've said it already probably about 6 times, aggression. It's how you play, again, an early game jungler. If the Olaf wanted to kind of reserve the game a bit more, focus on scaling, he shouldn't be looking to basically, what I would actually say, enable the Lee Sin. To me, it's fairly common, while Talia does a bit of damage, to me it's fairly common that when one jungler is ganking heavily, it forces the other jungler to try and gank heavily, because then one team is like, dude, their jungler's got so much more pressure than you, gank, dude. So the other jungler just ganks, and they might not be a good idea. Not every gank is a good idea, especially when there's a fed Lee Sin that can counter gank you. And that's kind of what's happening in this game, is I kind of feel like the Olaf is feeling like I'm getting behind, I need to make an impact, and because he's probably pressuring himself to try and make an impact, mistakes are happening. And that is the only, that is a benefit obviously to Lee Sin. So again, same move as before, but this time Tristana actually invades at the exact same time. Poor Olaf, by the way, 2-level advantage for Lee Sin, but this is something that we've spoken about in the past, even in this video. Jungle at the moment is the most influential role because of the differences that can be in the actual role itself. Lee Sin going to go for the kill, not the cleanest to play, actually not going to kill because that wasn't very clean, but pressure is good. They also got Gangplank ultimate, so they'll be able to get a tower plate or two, and it forces the enemy to go back and buy. But we spoke about it in this game, is one jungler has a good game, one jungler doesn't, and why? It's just the way of jungle right now. Again, there's no catch-up XP in the jungle, so if one jungler gets ahead, they're going to stay ahead for the most part. Meanwhile, Syndra gets a kill. Again, that Swain center lane doesn't look to be doing too hot. Again, that lane doesn't make much sense to me either, but whatever. So yeah, one jungler can get all the neutral camps if you get the early lead. A bigger snowball effect happens, and that is in essence why I think there's actually a big, I don't know, rift in the community, that some people think jungling is garbage right now, not worth doing. There's some people that think it's really strong. And in essence, I actually, if I'm honest, wow, that damage was high. And Olaf should not be going for this. 2 levels down still, doesn't have his ultimate. Lee Sin lands his Q, not going to go for it. Oh, he is going to go for it, and he will not pick up the kill. Maybe the red buff, though, doesn't look like it. But in essence, without being too harsh, from what I've seen, Tristana goes overly aggressive. Jungle mains that aren't very good at early game probably think jungle is weak right now. Jungle mains that are good in the early game probably think jungle is strong right now. And I think that's the main difference. Again, I don't know why the Olaf did that, by the way. Gives Lee Sin another free kill. But that is what I think it boils down to. If you're a early game specialist jungler, you're probably laughing about how good jungle is in SOLOQ right now. You get ahead of the enemy jungler by 2 levels every game. You snowball, you carry, you get every dragon, easy peasy. If you're playing a jungler that sucks in the early game, or you're just not very good at early game jungling, yeah, you're probably thinking that jungle is weak. And I think that is the clear difference. So, it does sound harsh, but basically the better jungler you are, the better you'll get on with jungling right now. I know that probably sounds obvious, but in the past, when there was comeback XP, catch-up XP, it wasn't as obvious if someone wasn't very good, because if they got behind, they could catch up. Now that you're, kind of in the open, that there's no way to come back, not an official way anyway, it's hard. So Lee Sin going to go for the Olaf, and this in essence is how you jungle right now. You get ahead and you absolutely annihilate the opposing jungler. So this is a great example, and I actually am really happy that we're watching this episode, because I think this is the biggest example I've seen so far. Worth also noting, just to make it clear for everybody, this is a challenger game. So this is rank 1 challenger. Obviously, yes, clearly an insanely good player. Lee Sin now doing a wonderful gank, actually. Not sure if the kill's going to happen. Does, pretty good damage. Going to pressure the gangplank. But, I would imagine he's against a challenger player too. We'll actually look it up. Why not? So they're going to maybe get some tower pressure. Meanwhile, Taliyah does die in mid lane. Gangplank ulting to try and save his tower. But right now, so the enemy jungler is Challenger. Basically 500 LP. Was Master last season, so it's clearly like a newish account. But yeah, so a very good player right now on EU West is the opposing jungler. Worth noting that they are also a Lee Sin main, generally. They're not a one-trick, but they're a Lee Sin, Karthus jungle, Taliyah jungle, Rek'Sai. So a pretty like all-round jungler is the Olaf. So with having Lee Sin as his most played, should also know the aggression level of what Lee Sin is wanting to do. But Olaf just didn't react to it very well, and yeah, in essence, that's what's kind of happened. Oh, Taliyah. So she kind of had a guess that Lee Sin would be around. Does get chunked, but now Lee Sin is definitely in trouble. There's a lot of people. Oh, Neely gets the good kickoff. Gangplank going to pick up a nice, juicy bounty, and Lee Sin will go down. So we have spoken about aggression in this game. Well, there is also such a thing as being over-aggressive, and it's occasionally going to happen when you're just, like, you know, foot to the floor acceleration. You're not lighting up the gas pedal. That is going to happen occasionally, and that's the risk. Imagine if this Lee Sin had the exact same playstyle, but the early game went bad. That's when you'll end up feeding. But if the idea, when these challenger players are good levels of aggression, if this playstyle for this Lee works 60-65% of the time, he gets fed in that like that percentage, then it is worth doing. If you can carry a game over 50% of the time, you will technically always climb. So in essence, that's probably why he plays very aggressive. So Olaf, only level 6. Worth also noting he has gone for Warrior Olaf, with also then buying Phage components. So I don't know, maybe the Olaf is tilted, or maybe just the type, again, we've spoken about it before, or literally just now, it may be the type of jungler that this Olaf is. He's a aggressive jungler. It's either going to go good or going to go bad. And this is the example that the dude is still building damage orientated when he's 2 and 6, and he's against a very fed Lee. In reality, if, you know, you weren't just playing, and this is the difference between SOLOQ players and, like, competitive players. In essence, this Olaf was doing this build because it's SOLOQ. If this was competitive, clash mode, pro play, and you're having a bad game on Olaf, you're not building Warrior. You're not building a Phage second or Black Cleaver second. You're going to go a bit tankier to get that utility, to get that survivability, so you're useful in essence. But this Olaf is probably, I'm an aggressive jungler, that's the playstyle I'm doing no matter what. So Swain 0-5, by the way, half farm to the Syndra, is going to try and escape. There's a lot of them around, though. Swain is going to just continue his aggression now that Gangplank is about. Lee Sin's having a fight, by the way, with 2 people. Does survive for now. Will get away. He is then going to return and gets the kill. This Lee Sin is really good. Tristana now looking for the Senna. Senna on the back foot. Lee Sin looking for that Q, doesn't get it. Tristana going to walk into the enemy team, maybe a bit too much going on. Taliyah with the Q, the W I think that is, of Taliyah. Lee Sin has missed a couple Qs, does do his kick into a Q, finishes off the kill, being very smart, not looking to go completely all in. He is basically calculating his Lee Sin play, looking for the executes on the squishy target. He'll look for another Q, misses it. So again, this is really good Lee Sin play. Lucian finally gets involved. Lee Sin 10-2 right now with a very aggressive build, as you'd expect. And I'd expect him to chase down this Swain, if I'm honest. Has got red buff, so he's going to have a little bit of healing. But as you can see, he doesn't fully commit to it. Trundle's in trouble, so he comes back to help. Lucian now gets completely caught. Again, Lucian top, not a very strong pick, is actually getting killed to a very weak Olaf, but that's Lucian top. And now Trundle's still in the area of getting caught. Swain, and this whole time, never went back, was probably waiting in this bush over here, and they will take a return kill. But that, in all, opens up the dragon for red team now to get. 11-2 for Lee Sin, with a completed Warrior, with a completed Black Cleaver at 14 minutes. With how much gold? Nearly 3,000 gold in his bank. That's kind of crazy. So honestly, this has been awesome to watch. You know, you also can see the farm difference between the junglers. Not normally a Lee Sin is on 97 farm at under 15 minutes. So what this Lee Sin has in essence done has combined the perfect amount of farming, and you can see he is not wasting any time. He's finishing the blue while starting another camp. It's very quick. And we've said it before in these commentaries, how often has this Lee Sin just waited in a bush to look for a gank for 30 seconds? It hasn't happened. Like, unless he's kind of looking, like, I think the only time it's practically happened is when he knew Olaf was going to the blue, so he waited in here and he had it warded. Like, that is basically the only time he's done it. And every play that he's looked for has generally worked. Hyper-aggressive, calculated play without wasting time. Really good to watch. Right, Lucian now looking for 1 kill. Trundle now coming for a little play. Olaf only level 7, by the way. He's 3 levels down to the Lee Sin. Talia trying to go for the Trist with the ultimate that was very buggy in the replay file. Again, the weak Lucian dying to an Olaf who in essence is also weak himself. And they will pick up a nice double kill. Lee Sin's in the area. Syndra's coming up as well. This play is potentially bad for the enemy team. Level 10 Lee Sin. Looking for it. Doesn't actually get Senna W'd. High range. Misses his Q. Worth also noting, because, you know, when I've played Lee Sin, people are like, dude, you missed your Qs. I'd say this Lee has had under a 50% hit ratio of his Qs, maybe about a 40%, and that's the point. That's normal. Like, I've never understood why people think, you know, even an amazing Lee Sin is going to hit all his Qs. It's not going to happen. It's the same with mid Lee. It's not about generally the spears or the Lee Sin Qs that you miss. It's about the ones that you hit. When you do get that hit off, it's about making the biggest play out of hitting it. That is the point. So yeah, even the rank 1 challenger player is not going to be anywhere near hitting all of his Qs. It's just not practical. I've said to you guys before, I do not aim to be a perfect league player because that is never going to happen. It's never going to happen for rank 1 challenger. It's never going to happen for pro players. It's never going to happen. And yeah, some people will see that as a defeatist attitude. I see it as a realistic attitude. But it's the weird thing with the league community. You can have people in bronze or silver demand perfection from their teammates. But in challenger, people don't demand perfection because it's about knowledge and realism. Anyway, Lucian does die again. Gangplank, again, gets the kill, which is good, but then does die in the end. 12 kill Lee Sin. Build-wise, by the way, picking himself up a Hex Drinker. I guess the enemy team has got quite a lot of AP damage, so why not? They've got like a good wombo with Talia. You know, Talia I would probably say is in a pretty weak position right now. But she does do a decent one-shot potential if she does land basically everything. But that's the point. She has to land everything to do damage. So Hexdrink is never going to be a bad option there. Again, sometimes you've also got to ask the question, what else would you buy? Swain gets caught. Not sure what he's doing there. But yeah, I don't know what else he would buy. He doesn't need a Tiamat, you know. You can get a Tiamat in some Lee Sin builds. It depends. You know, this Lee Sin's playstyle, yes, he's farming heavily. Like 125 farm. He's got more farm than both top laners. He's got more farm. He's got more farm than the mid and the enemy carry. But it's never seemed that he's struggling with getting farm. He's killing the camps really easily. Why? Arguably because he's really far ahead. So, but his damage, based on the time of the game, he's killing camps really fast. If maybe he was having a less fed game, maybe then he would buy a Tiamat. But you know, he hasn't, and we've spoken about it even recently, he hasn't hit a Q for a while. He's hit one now as it's obviously right in front of him. Does a nice Lee Sin play with a nice little kick. Gangplank now on the back foot, does hit another Q again. When the target's right in front of him, it's made a bit easier. Enemy team will be probably looking for a play here because clearly you killed the Syndra, she's not around, and also you can see top lane, the Tristana isn't there. Olaf now pushing his luck too far, gets himself killed, and now the enemy team will definitely be on the back foot. Lee Sin unfortunately misses another Q. The Trundle Pillar will be up soon if he gets enough mana. Lee Sin lands a Q on a minion, now coming in, Senna W, they both get rooted, that was not very good. Lee Sin going to continue his damage, will he manage to do anything here? Senna's going to Zonya, will Lee Sin survive? No, he will not after the flash from Senna. Will Senna dive by minions? No, as she'll heal. Meanwhile though, Tristana in top lane will probably break open the base. Moribund Mortis finished by Lee Sin, and now Lee is buying Guardian's Angel components. So he probably doesn't really want to die anymore, but also maximizing damage. Because GA, it's a kind of weird thing. I've had people kind of talk to me about it. You know, why doesn't AP champions have a GA equivalent? I guess you've got Zonya, technically, is their equivalent. But I do kind of agree. Like, I actually think it would be good to have pure equivalents, AD and AP, for both Zonya and GA. Because, yeah, if in essence, if you're playing an AP mage, you cannot buy a Guardian's Angel, something that literally revives you in late game. It doesn't exist. You're not going to buy a GA on Syndra, for example. So maybe that should be something that Riot should look to do, possibly, but maybe a weaker version, because, you know, people will say, oh, GA works because primarily it's for melee users and they can get caught a lot easier, which is true, but AD carries also buy GA. Anyway, Trundle gets himself caught, Gangplank ult coming down, red team now on the back foot. They've got to be smart about this. They're going to try and maximize damage with also taking the least. Lee Sin going to go for a nice kick. Gangplank gets absolutely mud. Lee Sin actually misses a kick, and the enemy team is on the back foot. Lee Sin, that's actually the second time that he's gone in and actually rooted his team with the Senna. But now enemy team get kind of owned with how squishy they are. Olaf hits double-digit deaths. Swain is actually nearly there as well, and that will be Dragon for the red team. Lee Sin didn't, I don't think, had Smite up, so he just basically protects the Dragon from the potential steal of the damage. And yeah, gets the Dragon, 16 kill Lee Sin. Really nice to watch. And again, hopefully you guys are watching this and kind of coming to the realization that we're not watching a perfect Lee Sin. How many insect kicks has he done this game? None? So that's worth noting. We're not watching the most technically masterful Lee Sin player ever. He's missing more than half of his Qs. He hasn't done a crazy, you know, Korea insect kick because it's just not necessary. He knows it's not necessary. And this is where I'd also say the difference between great players and good players. A good player will try to do these insect kicks all the time, and they'll try to pull them off and go, dude, I got the AD carry, hell yeah, let's go. This guy doesn't even need to do it because it overcomplicates things. If it's an overcomplication, generally don't do it. And I think that's something that a lot of solo queue players probably need to learn. Syndra gets herself caught. Olaf now using his stopwatch is probably going to die. Now Lee Sin going to come into the fight. Lands a good Q with a kick like before it. And they will pick up the Talia. Enemy team very much on the back foot now. Lee Sin returning to fight, misses a Q. Now going to go on the Swain with his whole team. And now they will most likely break into the base. Lee Sin lands a Q on the gangplank. Continuing the fight. GA obviously purchased, so he probably doesn't mind too much. Now, that was Tristana ultimate getting the gangplank out of the tower. That was actually a really nice play. And now the base will be broken. So he's going to go to top side while his team pushes mid. Why? Because it's a free inhibitor that he can probably do more or less by himself. Senna going to try and protect it. And then let's be honest, in essence, this game, Senna is kind of the AD carry for her team, or carry for her team. The Swain is at a very bad performance. And again, I don't know why he's playing Swain bot lane. It's not... Well, both teams have got a mage bot lane, which is kind of weird in current meta. But it's another thing worth noting. In Challenger and stuff, there are some very, very specialist players that they only got there by playing one thing. And trust me, I'm not just saying it to be mean or whatever. These players are not very good unless they are playing their one specialist thing. So, for example, if this Swain only got the Challenger playing Swain, that is all he's going to play. Trust me. Because that's the only thing he can play at this level. And again, that's not being harsh, that's not trying to like BM people, it's true. So that's why sometimes in Challenger, you get some weird picks. And that's why also, it's not like, oh dude, they're playing Swain bot in Challenger, that means I should play it. No, that might just be a specialist Swain player that's going to play it regardless. If you're not a specialist Swain player, there's no point playing Swain bot lane, for example. Again, just as an example. Anyway, the base is going to be looking to go down. Gangplank trying his best to defend it. Syndra is on a little bit low health. Has to be careful maybe of a flying barrel coming her way. One base tower dead. Doubt they're going to be able to get the next one. And they could back off and maybe look for the Baron pretty soon. But doesn't matter. They're actually going to surrender the game. Lee Sin looking for one more kill. Probably not going to get it. And there is, in essence, the game. So very good Lee Sin play. And this is, again, is another example of jungle difference. Lee Sin did nothing incredibly fancy or over the top. He just played aggressive. He played aggressive and basically just beat the Olaf in the early game. And then the Olaf can't catch up, you know? When the Lee Sin gets ahead, if the Olaf ganks and the Lee Sin counter ganks, well, the Olaf's dead. If the Olaf just farms and the Lee Sin ganks, well, then his team gets behind. And because the Lee Sin's ahead, the Lee Sin's going to take every neutral objective. So that's more XP that Olaf cannot catch up to. And now that there's no catch-up mechanic in the game, Olaf just can't catch up. So that's why, in essence, I think jungling is the most influential role in the game. Not for the most positive reason. I think it's the most influential because it's the clear difference of a good and a bad jungler, or a good game and a bad game. It just is so different of one jungler to another in practically every game. One jungler's doing well, one jungler's doing bad. If both mid laners are kind of playing average, they're both doing fine. If both top laners are kind of doing average, generally, they're both doing fine. Jungling is not like that, and that's why I think it's the most influential role currently in the game. But that's going to be it. Really good Lee Sin play. I got a couple ideas here or there, because obviously I did post something on social media. I'll bring it up on the screen right now if I remember. So on the screen, if I've remembered, is a screenshot from a few years ago of a loading screen from a website called LolSkill. It's basically Professor of its day, and you can probably recognize a couple names from there. I think Reckless is in the game, Healer Sang's in the game. So I obviously, if you guys are new to the channel, whatever, I used to play with pros very regularly. Even though last season I actually hit my highest rank ever in Master. A few years ago when, you know, Master and stuff never existed, or actually that might have been the season Master did exist, but things in SOLOQ used to be a lot closer. There weren't as many players, for example, so I did used to play with all the LCS pros, LEC pros very regularly. Like, it was just normal for me to play with them. I kind of missed that, so I am going to maybe try to be a bit more active in playing without recording, because let's be honest to everybody, and I think majority of you would probably maybe see the same thing. Getting high rating is hard in itself. You know, we're talking high rating, Diamond 2, Diamond 1 and above. That's really hard, very difficult. When I'm trying to commentate or live stream while doing that, it's near impossible. Like, at least for me, that I'm not a, you know, insanely gifted player. I'm just a decent player. So I do need to start playing more on the main account off recording, off streaming. I've got to become what I'd actually call a League of Legends player again. Because right now, I play League for content. I play while I'm streaming. I play while I'm recording. I don't really play apart from that. I think I need to, though. In order to get the main account back to playing with those pros that I kind of miss playing with, I think we need to take it a bit more seriously, condense the champion pool, and I need to become a League player. So, yeah, look out for that maybe in the next few weeks. But that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, throw a like on the video. Throw a comment. Let me know what you think about everything. Let me know what you think of the jungle too. But that's going to be it. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below. I've said that twice now. Goodbye, everybody. Blah.